You got your decision from Social Security, but you noticed in your decision that there were a lot of records missing. And you want to know, how could they make a decision without getting all of those records? Okay, at the early phases of the Social Security process, depending on what state you're in, some states have a two-step process. Some states have a one-step, which means you get denied once and you go to hearing, or you get denied twice and you go to hearing. In any event, if your case is being processed at the local office level, they typically will send your file over to the state agency, which is called the Office of Disability Determination or Disability Determination Services, that will then be responsible for developing the medical aspects of your case. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky. Most people don't realize that there's only a cap on how much money Social Security will pay for requests for records. So first thing is, I believe and it may have changed, so don't quote me, so I think it's like $14, $15, I'm not sure how much. So what happens, Social Security makes all attempts to get your records. One of the reasons why they may not have it, well, let me give you three straightforward reasons. One, they may not know about the doctor, meaning you have a responsibility to let them know who you've been going to see. So if you didn't tell them that there was a doctor that was relevant to your case, they're not going to know to get it. So that's one. Second of all, if there's a lot of records, and let's say for instance you go to a particular provider and there's a whole lot of medical records. Social Security asks for a particular period of time and they want like 40 or 50 bucks or 100 bucks to get all these records. Social Security will tell them, under the regs, this is what we're allowed to pay for. Then at that point, it's really up to your doctor. Your doctor could either send $14 worth of records or all the records and just accept $14, or they could choose not to at all. So that's another reason why that it may be possible that they asked for those records and quite frankly didn't get them because the provider didn't want to provide those just for $14. Or third, the provider's just not cooperating. In other words, the provider has said, you know what, they haven't been responsive at all. That happens too. And that's where situations where you'll have a quote unquote Social Security worker contacting you saying, hey, we need help from your provider, because what's happening is they're asking for the records, and then for whatever reason, they're not complying with the request. So when you get that decision and you notice that there are doctors that are missing, or maybe there's not all the records that they've indicated they've gotten, before you start going off on Social Security for what they haven't done, you need to make sure you check those three things that I mentioned. One, did you tell them about the doctors? If you did, two, were they successful in contacting the doctor and asking for records, and what kind of response did they get? Or three, were their doctor's office unresponsive at all? Because those things play a huge part. That's why if you've noticed in some of my other videos, I've said flat out, when you get ready to apply for disability, please let your providers know. Now sometimes it's a little tough because if you've gone to the hospital, or maybe your provider is a doctor that you went to out of state, some time has passed, trust, I understand that. But remember, you have the responsibility of proving that you're disabled. So you want to make sure you take all efforts to notify your doctor so that you're not in a situation where Social Security is asking for all these records and they're sitting here struggling because, one, they didn't know about the docs. Two, the doctor is saying, I'm not going to pay $14. I'm not going to give you records for only $14. Or the doctor's just not responding at all. Social Security didn't want to hold up your case. They know you've been waiting for a while. But if they're dealing with a provider that's just not cooperating, there's not much they can do. But there is something that you can do. You can go and reach out to that provider to help out. Keep those things in mind and ask those questions. If you're in a state where, or not even, let me take that back. When you go in to apply and you give a list of doctors, keep that list as well. Start contacting those places and say, hey, my Social Security is going to contact you regarding my application for disability benefits. Please help them out as much as possible. Do you deal with Social Security on a regular basis? Is there going to be any problems? When you start getting notification from the medical development portion, tell them. If you have problems getting in contact with my doctors or getting records for them, please let me know so that I can do what I need to do to get on them to make sure that they provide the records regarding my case. Trust, those little things are things that can go a long way towards making your life much much easier.